Hello.
Hi. Oh,
Hi.
it's such a big.
I got it started a little early just because I was like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Nan might be there anyway, so we're here.
No, it's always a good idea to show up a little early, I think.
How are you
But
doing today?
I'm good. I'm
Good.
good. I'm not loving the way this looks, but
Oh, I love that painting behind you. What is that a painting?
it's a collage that I did
Ah,
like 25 years ago, and now I'm kind of doing digital collages now, which has made me so happy because um I I love doing collages, and using
yeah.
digital tools instead of doing everything by hand is so different, but it provides tools that, cutting by hand when you're
Yeah.
64 years old and need eyes that see, not having to go,
Exactly.
because I was obsessive. I used to like cut out tiny little letters for
Wow. What is the word
signatures.
that runs across there, around the whole
Oh,
picture?
it was a collage that I did for an old friend of mine who's a poet from from uh Walla Walla, Washington.
Oh, wow.
And she was a cowgirl. She grew up on a farm and on a ranch, and she was a cowgirl. So it says Pendleton Roundup,
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I know Pendleton Roundup.
Pendleton Roundup, and she was a horsewoman in addition to everything else,
Oh,
a talented writer. And I made that for her, and we did like prints because I wanted the original.
that
um,
is freaking awesome. I mean, I'm in Oregon, so Pendleton is a
I know,
big thing
I
here.
know,
And
I
I
know.
mean, that's a relic. In fact, Dave did some brand work for Pendleton years
Oh,
ago.
really? That's so
Yeah,
cool.
they'd probably buy that from you.
I don't want them to. I love it. It's
Oh,
hard.
that's
It's hard to give away artwork. I think that's one of the reasons I like being online so much, is that I can
hmm
create these images and share them, and whoever sees them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I get a little attached. It's hard to give stuff
Oh,
away or even sell it. So
I'm
yeah.
exactly the same way, Nan. I have so much, like I went through a needle felting phase when I was in kind of recovering
Oh,
from the
really?
dizziness, and I have them all over. People are always like, can I buy one? I'm like, no. I want them
Well,
for myself.
yeah, they're totems, and they're part of your process, and
Yeah,
there's a spiritual connection that you have with them that other people won't necessarily even begin to relate to,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I
I
understand.
wanted to mention before I get started, because I'll give people a little bit of time. It just turned to 10 o'clock now. So, but my
Okay.
husband, so your background was graphic design. Is that what you maybe did?
Okay, so my background was Renaissance woman is the nice way of saying it.
hmm
Jack of all trades and master of none
Oh,
is the more honest way. No, 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 no. For years, that was my tagline. And part of it was just because I was interested in so many different things.
yeah.
But a big part of it was that I didn't have an ability to ground in anything and stick with
Mm,
it.
hmm
Uh, in the minute I felt, hi, Audrey, the minute I felt like I was up against something more challenging than I was willing to suffer, I would find something else to do.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would desert my own abilities because I couldn't see them clearly. Uh,
Wow.
wow, that was so eloquent. Um,
That was. I mean, there's
but
some, well, that's
but
something we can even talk about because that's really interesting. I was just writing to a friend that sometimes I wonder, can we see our own gifts, or is it the job of others to show us what our gifts are? Because
I think
I think we don't necessarily see our own gifts clearly.
I think that's absolutely true. And for me, let's see, Audrey said sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Yes, I know I was.
I don't know
I
why she's not come. Sorry, Audrey. I don't see anything here. It's weird. It's like I'm not. Usually I
You're
see
not
like,
seeing the chat?
Mm-mm, I don't see
That's
anything.
weird.
Yeah. Okay. But you can.
Well, Julie Gabrielli says, well said. Sounds familiar.
Oh,
You
I'm
know,
so glad
Julie.
people are here. My little screen says there's
Oh, yeah.
0 people here.
Oh,
And
no. There's 19 people
oh,
here.
I'm
And
like, let's just wait a little longer. Nobody's here.
no,
Well, that's weird.
no.
But
Okay.
regardless,
Okay.
let's
So,
jump in.
okay.
I want to just do a little intro now that people are here in my
Okay.
world,
Okay.
just so that for those that don't know what the hell are we doing today, this
I don't
is,
even know.
that's the beauty of it, because for us today and for me in my entire life, this is always about the moment when our path is not something that we can resolve or fix or solve
Mhm.
or do any of the things that we would like to do because our egos like to be in control. This is learning to lean into the unfinished. And so, unfixed, uncut is the truth before the tidy arc, where
I
we're going
love
to
that.
ask in 30 minutes, we're going to ask, what is the very thing in your life that maybe you couldn't fix that is building you into something more whole? What if broken is the fix? What is the the one thing in your life that you couldn't resolve that might be actually saving you? And today, my lovely guest, Nan, who just is ebullient is your word, and it is. If you look
Some
up
days.
in Webster's dictionary, the word ebullient, Nan Tepper is after that. And in fact, I love
Sweet.
one of your very good friends said, watching Nan in the creative process is like watching a child fly down a water slide. And I was like, yes, that is it. And I've only known you for about a month, but
I
you
know.
and your creative process it's on fire. It is radiant. It is infectious, and it's a gift to all of
I'm going to
us. And
cry.
I know that this genius that you are has not always been forthcoming. And so
No,
I'm
I'm going to
here
start to
to,
cry.
I see that. I see that, dear. I see that.
Um,
So yeah, I'm here to celebrate you and to talk
Thanks, love.
to you about this one question and wherever else you want to take it.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I, uh, I struggled for a very, very long time in my life. Um, Through childhood, it was because I had epilepsy and felt Kim is a human hug, is what Julie just said. It's absolutely true. Um, I had epilepsy when I was a little girl. When I was 8, I had my first seizures. And what that did was sort of set me up as an outsider
Yeah.
because little kids don't understand things like grand mal seizures in the middle of a classroom. And when you have a community that's called your elementary school, and you have people who don't know how to deal with trauma,
Yeah.
nobody took care of those kids. Nobody explained to them what they had witnessed, and they got to see it happen twice before I was on medication that kept it under control. So I was kind of outcast, and the way that I respond, they were afraid of me. And
Yeah.
I understand that now. But when I was a kid, I didn't understand why no one would be my friend. So that was the setup. And what ended up coming out of that was like a lifetime of self isolation because I couldn't reach anyone.
Mm.
And so I just accepted, not happily, that I had to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And it was a sad childhood. And I grew up in a family with lots of secrets. I think a lot of us grow up in families with lots of secrets, and the that was part of the problem for me, was that I never really knew where I stood.
Mm.
And I didn't know what the truth was, but I knew something was wrong. As I
Yeah.
got older, all of those issues, my parental interactions, my relationship with my father, you had relationship with two fathers, right? My relationship with my father we had a very deep love for each
Mm.
other. but it was not a healthy relationship because we had a very deep love for each other. It was codependent. It was almost like a marriage. And that's what I've been working on in the memoir I'm writing about our relationship and how the dynamic of codependence fueled later mental illness for me.
Wow.
Deep
Yeah.
depressions, hospitalizations, medications, all the things that I was looking for to soothe me, to help me. And really, what I needed to do was look at my life situation honestly.
Mm.
And I didn't have the tools for that for a very long time.
No,
And
and
I
it sounds
doubt
like
it.
you
Go
were
ahead.
trying to reach, like you said, I didn't know how to reach people. That
I didn't
really
know how to
stood out
reach
for me. You didn't know how to
myself.
reach yourself. You were in isolation. And so
Hmm.
codependency almost became your language of reaching, your
Oh, it
language of
did.
relating.
Exactly. Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So really what it was I became this sort of servant to other people. What can I do for you? What do I need? Oh, nothing. What do you need?
Yeah.
And I did that in all of my relationships for so many years. And what it gave me was depression, resentment, physical illness, mental illness, because I had no idea what I wanted. I
Mm.
had relationships with, I'm even I don't even want to define myself with a sexuality label, but for many years I have lived as a queer woman, and the primary relationships I've had have been with women, and every one of them has failed.
Mm.
And they haven't failed, and this is a hard thing to really own. They haven't failed because of the other people.
Mm.
They failed because I did not have the tools to meet someone as an equal.
Mm.
All I understood was taking care of somebody else. And like my most recent girlfriend would say, "What do you want to have for dinner?" And I'd say, "Whatever you want. I'm fine. Like, I'll
Yeah.
eat whatever you make because I hate cooking." But the truth was, she would make things, and sometimes I liked them and sometimes I didn't. "What movie do you want to see?" "Whatever you want to see."
Wow.
And we had totally different taste in movies. So I really, and I needed this last relationship to help me break through. And
Was there a moment, do you remember, where you were just like, I mean, because when I experience you, Nan, you're somebody who knows, this is my experience of you, somebody who knows who you are, celebrates it, knows how to even be in conflict with others with through love, and embrace the differences. And it just, there's a celebration that comes through you. So what was the turning
yeah.
point for you?
Okay, it's like so complex. Um what happened for I've been in therapy for years and years and years and years with lots of different therapists. I started working with a therapist about 5 years ago who approached therapy from uh a different angle than anybody I'd ever worked with before. And and her focus was on complex PTSD, which I absolutely have, and somatic work,
Mm.
and uh and and emotional energy that gets held in our bodies. And it was very woo woo for me at first. It was very like, What do you mean we're going to like break these patterns and these core beliefs that live in my cells and generational trauma?" These were all kind of new concepts for me, but they were so incredibly right on for
Wow.
the work that I needed to do, the things I needed to release. But, and this is the big but was my therapist said to me, and I will talk about the inciting incident that led to this place. But my therapist said to me at one point, "You're doing so great in this process. You've healed so much." But, hi, Mary Roblin. Um, you've
Mm.
healed
Oh,
so much. But if you don't integrate some form of spiritual practice and connection, you will only go so far.
Wow, that's an interesting insight to receive from a therapist.
It was amazing. She's very
Yeah,
she's really unusual.
yeah.
And what
So
she said
how
to
did that
me,
land with you at that time? Did you have any spiritual sort of
I was
practice or?
not really, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone in and out of spiritual practice. I've gone in and out of exploring my Judaism. I've gone in and out of a very intense commitment to a yoga practice. So I've had glimmerings of uh, what it's like to feel connected to something greater than myself. But I also was extremely cynical about, we're here, we die, that's it. There is no great connection. There is no, and I also did, in addition to therapy on and off over the years, I did some work in 12 step, but I was a reluctant 12 stepper. I was
Mm-hmm.
I'll check it out. Yes, this makes sense, but the God thing, but the
Yeah.
God thing, but the God thing. And 12 step says very clearly it's got to be God that works for you.
Right.
It could be higher power, it could be higher purpose, it could be whatever you say that connection is, but you need an anchor. There's a place where you put yourself to the side and you serve others.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that my addictive behaviors, my coping mechanisms manifested was me as a person with disordered eating. I
Mm-hmm.
used food to soothe, to self-soothe. I've never been a drinker. It doesn't, a cocktail here and there, that wasn't my self-medication. I've messed around with prescription meds because I was on so many prescription meds for so many years for depression, for insomnia, for all anxiety. Um, and I got to a point where I wanted to try and wean off my meds, my antidepressant meds. And I did for a couple of years, and then I backslid. But the depression, the backsliding was not so much about an organic depression for me, I believe, as it was me not speaking my truth
Mm.
in my
Mm.
relationship.
Wow.
And I fell apart because I kept trying to fit myself into a box
Wow.
in the relationship that didn't fit. And what I did was I blamed myself because there was something wrong with me. There was something broken in me
Yeah.
that couldn't trust another person enough.
An old message that was probably repeating itself over and over again.
Core belief, but also maybe the truth in some ways. Maybe the
Mm-hmm.
truth.
Yeah,
The
it's both
truth that I
sides.
ended up getting to, right? Because contrast, it's never either or, it's and in both. And that was a takeaway from therapy that was so valuable to me that that's the next tattoo that I'm
Yeah.
planning.
And
Um,
it's going to say and
and
or
that's I and in both. It's gonna
and
say,
in both. I
yeah,
met, sorry to interrupt, but somebody on
it's
my
okay.
book tour had the tattoo and on her arm, and she had just gotten it, and it was, unfixed is very much about the
Because
coexistence of opposites. And
that's
so
right.
we should all get
That's
ands.
It's changed me. Just
Yeah.
being able to think about and in both instead of black and white,
Yeah.
one or the other. And we need that and in both inclusiveness so much right now
Yeah.
in the world. It's like all we're doing is excluding one another. And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It works against all of us. So what I was going to say was my therapist said to me when she said you need a spiritual connection, she said, I want you to start going to a 12-step meeting. And I said,
Mm.
okay, because I
Wow.
trusted her, because I had reached a personal bottom with my food, with I even had a sort of near death, well, near acting out suicidal ideation experience um, right around that time, which
Mm.
was 2.5 years ago, uh, where I was just so sad and so wanting to not die, but check out, that
Mhm.
I sort of took too many pills one night, and not a gross amount of pills, but enough for me to look at the pills in my memory the next day and say to myself, I wonder if this is too much. And the answer that came back was, I guess I'll see.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Wow. Were
Right.
you observing yourself when you had that thought? Was there another part that was like kind of going, "Wow, this is where we are now," or I
Well,
mean, because you seem
I
like
think it
somebody.
I think that in that moment, see, what happened was I did that, and the next day I woke up and had no
Uh-huh.
recollection of taking the meds.
Oh,
But what I had done was written down the dosages. Like, I was not in my right mind, and yet maybe there was something there that was making me document this, and I wrote
mm.
down exactly what I took, and the only reason I saw it was because I sent it as a message to myself. So I
Oh
picked
my
up my
God.
phone and saw this and went, "Oh my god," and then it started coming back. So I was in crisis,
Mm,
and I took myself to my first revisiting of 12 step, and I was in and had and up until recently had been going every day for more than 2 years, and it has set me free. Set me free.
wow.
I have connected to, uh, my definition of a higher power,
Will
and it's
you tell us
real.
what that is? I always love to know
Yeah.
what that looks like for Nan.
So my higher power is called grace. My higher power is kind of embodied
Mm,
as a little sweetheart that sits on my shoulder and whispers in my ear when I call her in.
mm,
And what I know about my higher power is my higher power lives within me, and my higher power is the best possible version of me.
wow.
When I talk to Grace, I am talking to that 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 better self, the
Hmm.
self that knows
The
what.
self that's speaking right now.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah. So that's been extraordinary for me because I really was a doubter, like
Mm,
really, really, just
wow.
really hardcore against all of that talk. And I still feel that way about religion mostly. Um, Organized religion's really, really, really hard for
Mhm.
me because so much of it is wrapped up in patriarchy.
Mhm.
And I am so on the road to fighting that any way I can.
Mm,
The one thing that I will say is uh, I'm at a place in my life where I don't regret anything that ever happened to me. None of
mm,
it. Because everything that happened to me led me to this place in time.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Wow.
and to be thankful for being at this place in time in my life where I'm happier than I've ever been, where my 60s have been the best decade I've ever lived, where I am doing the things that I always wanted to do. From the
Mm.
time I was a little girl, I wanted to be a writer. And
And you
my
are.
muse was Harriet the Spy. Um, and a lot of people my age will definitely know who that is. And if you don't, go out and buy the book and read it because it's amazing. Um, but I had no confidence. So I didn't write. I didn't write. I didn't write. Even though teachers said, "You're a really good writer," I didn't write. And it took the relationship, my last relationship, my partner is a writer who saw that in me and said, "Nan, you're a writer. You have to do this." And I decided to trust her and not say, "Oh, you're just being nice,"
Yeah.
because that was what I would that's what I would counter with my whole life, was when people complimented me or saw my gifts, as we, started off with, I would just say, they're lying. They're
Wow.
lying.
Oh.
Yeah,
And
they're not telling me the
now what do you
truth.
say?
I say thank you. I say
Nan,
thank you.
some people might see like this story of yours is actually a true redemption arc, like, oh, she solved this, resolved this. So I'm curious, how do the broken parts still live in you? And how do you hold them differently? Like, do you relate, like, do you still visit self-doubt and depression and all
Absolutely.
that stuff? And so what's transformed with how you relate to those parts of
I'm
yourself?
not afraid of it anymore.
Oh, wow.
I'm not afraid of it
Wow.
anymore. If I feel myself getting sad, which is different than depression, I ask the sadness what it wants me to know.
Oh God, man,
If
that
I
is,
start to feel depressed, I say, what's the message? What do you want me to know? If I get angry, there's always that curiosity that will kick in. And sometimes, hi, Eleanor Anstruther. I love your new
hi,
haircut. Um, so um, yeah, I mean, it's like I am going to ask, what do you want me to know, instead of resisting it and being
yeah,
terrified by it. I would get so scared when I would start sliding into a depression that I would do anything I could not to feel even more, because
yeah.
depression is absolutely the absence of feeling, uh, for me. And I,
And was
I
it the
will.
12 steps that helped you? So what, how, because I'm curious, people are probably going, okay, well, I'm afraid of my depression, but how do I lean in and how do I allow it to speak to me? How did you do
I,
that the first time?
I, um, I've never given up, through all the
Yeah.
years of treatment, all the years of therapist after therapist and pharmacologist after pharmacologist. I would give up temporarily, sometimes because it just wasn't serving me. But I've always been a seeker. I've always been a questioner. I am a brave person, because if I weren't, I'd be dead.
Yeah. Wow.
I would be gone. There's a lot of suicide in my mom's family, my mom's side of the family, and there's some suicide even in my dad's. And so there's that, it's that sort of belief. Do I have a belief that it's genetic? Somewhat, but it's never all one thing, I don't think, especially
Mhm.
with emotional issues. The culture has definitely contributed to, uh, the negative feelings we have about ourselves. For me, I think that I've been building towards this healing for a very long time, but what I needed was, sort of the breakdown, which is
Yeah.
what happened 2.5 years ago. I hit a bottom that I was not willing to stay in, and I've tried everything, right?
Isn't
So,
that, yeah.
yeah, but
The
people
breakdown and
sometimes need
trying
to
everything.
try,
Hmm.
and people have to try,
Yeah.
and what worked for me, if 12-step worked for me, but right now I'm in a place where I don't know if I want to keep going and participating. And I'm really torn about it, because there are a lot of people who are still struggling in these programs, and they need to hear from people like me
Mm,
that there's hope. That's part of the agreement when you work this program. But what I'm seeing is that one of the things that my particular program stresses is balance,
mm,
not being extreme in anything, a middle way. And by my feeling like I would lose my, recovery by skipping a meeting here and
yeah.
there, was
That's just
not a
more
healthy
addictive
thing.
thinking.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I'm looking for balance right now with the work I do, because I think there's so much value in 12 step, but it's not the only path
Hmm.
ever. And for me, I think just got to a point where I wanted to live, I wanted to, um, experience what it was like to be successful in my own eyes, not anybody
Yeah.
else's. And as a result, I'm living this life I could never have dreamed of. I get up every morning happy.
Oh,
I get up every morning and want to create. That part of me that's a creator or creative, is being fed in a way I've never allowed her to be fed. And she
wow.
is me. And
Oh, Nan.
my,
And
my,
can I just say, I mean, that
what?
I love that you use the word fed because of what you talked about earlier with the disordered eating. It's
Right.
almost like all along, this creative part of
I
you
was
was just
starving.
starving, was just hungry. And now I've got like full body goosebumps right now. It's just like the meal and the celebration that's happening through that meal is just extraordinary to
It
witness.
really is because I'm either writing or I'm creating something visual. I'm doing graphic design. We have the new project that I'm working on that has lit a
Wham
fire
bam, thank you,
under me.
slam. You want to mention it really quick?
Yeah, I really do.
Do
So
it,
Wham
mention
Bam
it.
Thank You Slam is a new stack that my friend Eileen Dougherty and I launched about 10 days ago. It's a story slam platform for women storytellers and people who are non-binary. Um, it's very tongue in cheek. There's some eyebrows being raised in the community right now about our messaging because we have a tagline. The tagline for Wham Bam Thank You Slam is one story, 4 minutes, zero dicks. And
What is there to argue about with that?
I'll tell you what there is. There is a community of people who are trans who I
Oh,
do not want to misconstrue that message because
yeah,
we
I can.
are welcoming people in who are non-binary. But what if they have a penis?
Right.
They're absolutely welcome. It's not about skin. It is
Dicks
about
dicks are like, you
dicks
know,
as in assholes.
assholes.
But dicks works better. And I'm talking about cis men, cis white men for the
Hmm.
most part, but maybe
Hmm.
not just white men. I'm talking about people who adhere to the patriarchy
Yeah.
and who believe that women should be put down
Yeah.
and that women should not have control over their bodies and that women should not vote.
Well, you're
This
gonna
is
get.
backlash time.
And Nan, this movement that you're creating is going to go far. And
I
I
hope
just had
so.
a very good mentor friend tell me the other day from his mentor that everything on this plane is in dualistic. And so when something rises, you have to. It's the law of the universe. You have to get the negative to come with it. So when something, the more this is going to explode, you're going to get those comments from people that are like, well,
Oh, of
wait, what?
course.
And
Oh, of
so, it's
course.
all part of the growth of this vision that you have, which I think is just, it's creating the friction and the tension that is just going to give birth to more and more and more in you.
I really hope so because I've been a feminist since I was 5. And and now I get to be a feminist out loud.
Yeah.
Uh, and that is really exciting. And I want you to know that the space also is a space for us to have fun
Yeah.
and to feel safe and to celebrate being women, being powerful, and our ability to change the world in ways that are not like the way men have done it
Hmm.
because it doesn't work. And I don't want to just sit back and watch what's happening and not do anything.
Oh, man.
Um, Substack has
Nan,
been Substack has been transformative for me
me too. It truly has,
completely.
Nan. And things have just only begun. I feel like I'm just the energy that's happening over there is just thrilling. I am
Yeah.
excited because in 2 weeks I'm actually going to do the same Unfixed Uncut with Eileen. So we'll talk a little bit more about
Good,
Wham Bam Thank You Slam and Eileen's
good.
story, which is also really powerful. But it's
Amazing.
10:32, and I now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have made these 30 minutes long, but
Well, you could keep going. It's your stack and your live, and you make
I
the
know,
rules. Do
but
what you need.
we've got. I mean, this continued because I feel like there are some pieces that I want to pull on, some strings that I want to pull on some more. I even want to know about 5-year-old feminist Nan.
Oh, I'm happy to
So
tell you
let's
that
just do
story.
it
So
to
you
be
have to invite
continued.
me back. I'd
Yes,
be
I
happy to
will.
tell that story. I even have a piece about it.
Oh,
Um,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you so much. And really, really congratulations on the book.
Mm.
You're making a difference on Substack and in the world. And I'm so glad to know you.
I
I'm
am.
so glad.
I love you, Nan.
I
Truly.
love you too, sweetheart.
Wow.
It's
Mwah.
so good. Mwah. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
I'll be able to uh
We'll
cross post
restack
this,
this
right?
and yep, all the
Okay, great.
goods. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Oh, God. That was great.